Hi guys, we're live. It's Nikki at That's Normal. We are here tonight to talk about episode 211, Vengeance is Mine, written by herself. We will jump into that in 20 minutes, as one YouTube commenter told us. But first, let's introduce ourselves. We have a few new faces we haven't seen in a few weeks, and tell us what you're drinking. I will start. This is my leftover Father's Day boozy cocktail in a quart mason jar. So it's all fresh watermelon and I think vodka. So it's 2 cups full still, so we'll see how much I work through.
Yum.
All right.
That's very yellow of you.
It is.
I'll go.
Beth,
Hi. Hi, everybody. I'm Beth, and my family's talking to me, so I apologize. I wasn't paying attention. I'm having a Malbec tonight. I'm very excited about talking about this episode. I literally just finished watching it about 45 minutes ago for the first time, so I feel very prepared. Normally I have watched and dissected the episodes many times, and so this time it's fresh, and I've only watched it once, so I'm ready. Heidi, say hi.
Oh, hi, I'm Heidi. I haven't been on one of the Outlanders in person in a long time, but I tend to poke up on Twitter. I am drinking a very cheap and very disgusting white Zinfandel, and if you hear any screaming in the background, no one's being murdered. It's just my children being neglected by me.
Julie.
Okay, hi, I'm Julie. I also write for That's Normal, and if you do hear somebody screaming in the background, that's because somebody is being murdered. So, I don't have kids, it's okay. Hi.
What if somebody was like screaming, "Mommy!" at your house?
Then I would have to.
Possibility.
I would rip out my earphones, run out, and rescue them, and then I would come back and tell you guys, okay, let's continue talking.
Teacher Julie to the rescue.
Priorities. You're welcome, America.
Before we get started, if you are watching and you're of the tweeting persuasion, tweet along with us, #HangOutlander. We don't have anything because we didn't even think about that until right now. So still tweet us because it's a lot of fun. And let's get started. Anyone?
We already have some people that are excited that Heidi's joining us tonight for the first time. So yay! Yay for Heidi.
Everyone loves Heidi.
Yes. We're excited.
I should have worn my eye patch for you guys tonight.
I know.
I ran out of time, but...
Heidi's our resident Rupert. She's had some eye issues, wearing an eye patch on a regular basis. She's hiding it tonight, like she can really see. She can't. It's a glass eye.
It looks so natural, though.
We were discussing on our chat how all of us have recently had strange injuries, and we feel like because Diana wrote this episode, Rupert gets hit in the eye. I had a hand injury a couple of weeks ago that looked a lot like that fishhook dude's. And tonight, Kyle from Hypable was supposed to join us, and like 30 minutes ago, something hit him on the head, and he started bleeding profusely. He had to go to the minor meds. So we're assuming that Diana is just now voodoo dolling That Normal, like, through all of her episodes. She
mentioned Blurt this week, so she's got it out for us.
She knows.
She didn't just mention Blurt. She threw some shade at Blurt.
There was some shade being thrown at Blurt. Yes.
Most definitely. I was like shocked. My jaw actually dropped, and I thought, no way is that really like shade, like Blurtlander shade. But I think it might have been. Do you guys think it was?
I think it was some shade.
Yes.
When he said it, who was the character? Does not blurt. And I was like, oh my god, she totally meant it. Like, I don't know, maybe we're too close to it, but I really thought there was a little connection.
Because that line doesn't make any sense. Oh my dear, the last thing I would ever do is blurt. And I was like, what a weird thing to say.
Not just once, but twice. So you had Claire say it, and then you had the other guy, Sandringham, say it. So Ryan somewhere is just get that hat on, Ryan. You're a star.
Is Ryan on her shit list? Is that what's going on?
He should be collecting royalties.
He does say "damn it, Diana" Gabaldon like regularly when he's watching these shows. So maybe she just doesn't like it. She doesn't see the beauty in it. It's a metaphor, Diana. It really is. It's art. He's got to create his own art, and his own art is that.
Blurting.
Yeah. Although, I will say, we've been watching other shows lately, and he keeps doing that, and I want to murder him. So there's a little bit of, like, when we first started doing Outlander, and people were like, I would never be able to sit there with somebody while he talked like that. And I was like, oh, shut up, you idiots. Like, obviously, I've watched it before I sit down with him. But now that we're not watching things, I'm not watching it ahead of time, and I'm just watching it with him for the first time. He's been talking through it, and I'm like, you've got to shut up. Oh, my God. I want to do a murder on you. A big one.
He's just pre-season training. That's what he's doing. So when he gets to Outlander, he's ready. He's prepared.
It would be good. It would be nice. Maybe I'll do Outlander for tomorrow. I don't have a post yet. He hasn't seen 15 and 16 yet from season 1.
I was gonna say I really want to hear his impression of 16. That's the one I'm like, I just want to see, like, just the silence. I remember there was this one blurt where they had sex and he was silent, and you're like, seriously?
Yeah.
So I think for 16 he's just gonna just sit there and just silence.
Maybe. He did that for the wedding, just total silence. I want to say something about what's already going on Twitter, because Tweetly D already said it's interesting to see how many of the original fans no longer consider Outlander appointment TV. She said that from earlier when I said that I hadn't watched the episode until today. That's kind of true. Like, if I don't have to watch it, I'm not watching it.
Well, I didn't watch it. I didn't watch it till last night either, and the week before I think I had 2 to catch up on before Hang Outlander, which is sad. There's so many other shows that I'm like, the minute it's on, I'm just like up in its grill, but I think that's just telltale for this whole season, though, unfortunately.
Do you think
Go ahead.
Do you think the early release has anything to do with that, where it comes out so much earlier, and some people that care about it watch it early, and everyone else is just kind of like, get to it when I get to it. I know it's going to be there.
Yeah, I mean, I think that releasing it early is a problem, like for them making it like a big deal. But I also think that, like, I don't know. I think that if you wanted to sit down and watch it on a Saturday night, you would. I don't want to.
I had it on my DVR, and I also had the MTV reality show Are You the One, with the kids who date each other and win $1 million, and I watched that one first. So I guess that says something, right?
I think it's a combination of both. I think it's a combination of the fact that they release it early and the fact that it's not up to, I'm going to say it's not up to caliber like it has been, like, or what we were expecting. So, I mean, like, take, for instance, Game of Thrones. So many people, I don't know, I don't watch Game of Thrones. Sorry, I don't. I promise I will someday. Like, everybody's talking about this episode from last night, and so many people are like, I can't wait to watch it again. I'm watching it again tonight. I have to watch it again. And I feel like once you see certain episodes of Outlander, you've seen them and you're, like, done. So.
Well, I disagree with one part of what you said, and that said that you don't think it's up to caliber this season. I actually really like it right now. I'm enjoying it right now.
Right.
As far as, like, shows go. It's not my favorite show. I'm not, like, chomping at it, but I'm also, like, really involved with the show. We're talking about it all the time. Obviously, the majority of my Twitter followers are, talking about it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of why I don't feel like I need to know what happened,
Yeah.
Also, I know what's going to happen. I read the book.
Yeah. Please don't send me hate tweets. Don't send me, like, it's not up to caliber, and then tell on me and put me on some, like, restricted list.
You're going to be next on Diana's curse.
Oh, God. Here goes my tooth.
Which injury would you like?
A tooth just falls out. I'm like, oh.
A tooth falling out is nothing compared to having Claire have to get some leverage with her thighs just to pull it out.
That poor child, too. That's what I said. I tweeted. I was like, this is why there's a problem with the dental care in England. So I blame Claire on that. That poor kid. That poor kid.
I think it's perfectly valid for somebody to think that this show right now is not up to caliber. Like, when you in comparison to other shows.
Yeah.
I think it could be valid for you to say that it's not your favorite part of Outlander right now too. I just happen to think they've actually hit a little bit of a groove. This
Yeah,
this episode kind of bounced back and forth between cool elements, I thought.
Yes, I will say that, like, in the past few episodes, it has kind of started to go a little more smoother than the first. Because I'm telling you guys right now, the first half, I was just like, oh boy.
Yeah.
I don't know. So I agree.
Once they left France, that was the best thing that happened to this season. Like they needed to get on the channel and get out of there like ASAP. It was so bad. But I was watching it last night with my boyfriend. I was like, why aren't you watching it? Because he was on his iPad or something. And he was like, I haven't been watching this for weeks. Like, he just sits there and watches it with me. And I was like, why? And he was like, because we already know what's going to happen. They're not going to win. There's no point. And I was like, okay, well, that's an honest critique. One I had said, I think, last week, too. So I was like, oh, that's sad.
Yeah, they keep kind of putting in little tidbits thinking, like where you think it might, like Jamie and Claire, like this episode, oh, well, if I could have gotten him to go to London, maybe Culloden wouldn't have happened. And they keep doing that. Like, every episode, there'll be, like, one little thing where they're trying to change it. And you know they don't change it. So it's almost like, what is the point in having Jamie and Claire believe that it could still be changed if you're not actually, if it's not driving the plot forward?
Yeah.
It's a weird thing to do. There's no stakes. I mean, I think the stakes are who's going to die at Culloden, not whether or not Culloden happens. Right?
Yeah.
I agree. I think that's that whole like beginning where they were all talking and Claire was pulling out teeth and then they would shoot into where they're having the meeting of the minds. It was just that for me went a little too long. It was just like, okay, all right. So and I just felt like I don't know, but there was that one part where the prince did say, I rather would die on a sword. And I'm like, well, somebody do it for the man. He's wishing it now. Just give him what he wants.
Yeah. I don't get at this point why Jamie is so gung-ho behind him by Bonnie Prince Charlie. Like, you wanted to kill him and you probably should have killed him when you had the chance, and now you have to follow this guy. Why are you so like, let's do it, let's go to London, we have 3 armies we got to get through, there's like 20 of us, and that's it, we're going to do it. Like,
yeah, but that was the point. That was the whole point. They made this little bitty reference to if they could have gone to London, and Jamie was like, oh, we changed it. We changed history. And that was the whole point of him being behind Bonnie Prince. Because it didn't, I mean, I guess it would have made sense for them to go forward to London with morale or whatever, but that was the only reason he was doing that.
Yeah.
And I feel like a couple episodes ago, whenever they got the letter and his name had been forged at the bottom, I feel like that scene was not impactful enough to explain why he changed his entire perspective on Bonnie Prince Charles. It was not clear enough for a viewer to be like, oh, of course he has to fight the war and be on Bonnie Prince Charles' side. So in my opinion, that was not compelling at all for him to change his entire perspective on it.
Yeah. It would have been if it had been like the end of an episode.
Sure.
And like the last thing that he had to do, it was the last thing that happened. They had spent a whole, not necessarily a whole episode in Lallybrook, but maybe an episode in Lallybrook where he's meeting some of the men he's going to have to fight with.
Right.
And we get attached to them and get attached to Jamie's like relationship with them. And then at the end of that episode, he has to grab all those men and go.
Sure.
Right.
That would have been cool.
Yeah. And I feel like we need to be reminded every now and then. But I agree with you, Heidi. It wasn't impactful enough because Nikki, I wondered the same thing towards the end. I was like, I still don't get why is he doing this for Lollybrook? Is he doing this because Claire just said, hey, this is going to happen? And if that's the case, then why try to change it? If it's going to happen, it's going to happen.
Yeah,
so,
and if you know it's going to happen, like, prepare for it. Obviously, we know they're growing potatoes for that, 5-minute scene they talked about the harvest. But also, like, just stay home. Like, don't take your guys out there. Like, I don't know. Call me crazy.
That's exactly what I'm thinking. Like, he knows it's going to happen. He knows they're going to die horrifically. So go hide. Like, take all of your dudes and go hide in the Dunbonnet Cave. You know it's there.
We can send Mary McNabb to you every once in a while.
But even Claire said it. Claire, you're like, thank God you finally got a good, you're finally have clear thoughts. She even said, let's go hide somewhere. Let's go to America. Let's go somewhere and hide. And he's like, no, I can't do it. And it's like, now you're saying that? Thanks a lot, Jamie. It's like, I don't know. So some certain parts of this episode, I think we kind of hit on it, is like, it was kind of unnecessary and just like, okay, move on. We need something, go to something new. And I felt like there were certain parts of this episode that were like that. Other parts I liked, so.
I liked the return of Hugh Monroe. I like that character. That character makes you remember that it's not a culture that you're used to at all. Like, it's not even, like this tongueless beggar or whatever who's, like, running around making choices and, like, being a battle spy or whatever. I don't know. I like Hugh.
I did too.
Did you see, I'm sure you guys did, but on Snaplander, where Tiffany said, but why is Jamie having to do sign language? He's not deaf. He's just
That's a personal choice by Sam. He was like, I know I love you. I got this one. Like,
I think thank you is this, and I can handle it.
Sam's like, I know sign. I can do this. Finally, my training in Glasgow sign theater is working.
Like, I saw Napoleon Dynamite. I was part of the bird.
he's got yes, Jesus loves me down.
That's like American Sign Language. I like, but yes, why is he signing? Hugh can hear you.
That's like when somebody's blind and you talk louder for them. You're like, that sense is actually heightened, probably. You don't need to do that.
I can hear the well actuallys coming, so here's the explanation.
Okay.
Jamie is signing so that Hugh can hear back to him what he means. So if he makes like a house and it says something, he wants Hugh to make the same sign to talk back to him.
They're like, they're inventing Gaelic
He's
sign
not
language.
dumb, though.
He's playing copycat. Like if he made a sign for like, not that one.
That's Dirk. That's the Dirk.
Or something.
This is the Dirk sign. But if he's making a sign for something, he wants to mirror it back, and then he knows that he is saying the same. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I guess, yes.
He's Anne Sullivaning his Helen Keller.
Yes. Anne Sullivan.
Is that her name?
Oh, yeah.
Side note, Helen Keller was a socialist.
Oh, there you go.
I knew I liked her.
I mean, like she grew up to like be like a major socialist, and like nobody ever talks about that. But that's what I learned in the history book that I recommended last week. You guys, you should read it.
Okay, well, knowing Diana, at some point, Jamie and Claire will probably meet Helen Keller. So.
and Frank, and
they'll try to stop Hitler.
Don't you guys know that Diana Gabaldon also knows ASL? She's probably an instructor, too.
The bird's her favorite.
Yeah, the bird. Field
Wasn't she like-
biologist. What was it this week that she told William Shatner?
Oh, I don't know.
PhD in animal behavior.
Yes.
It was.
Yeah.
Yes.
Didn't she like do her dissertation on migratory patterns of North American birds, or did I make that up?
God. I thought it was gonna be like horses or something. I don't
It was
know.
probably the blue heron. That's why she talks about it. I know so much about the blue heron. Get ready. We're putting it into Outlander. I can't do Diana's voice. You can, Beth.
I'm trying to get on her good side again, so I'm not going to do it.
You don't want the hex.
I feel like maybe I'm cresting a hill, and I can get over it. I'm going to try to stay.
It's your peak challenge.
Diana's peak challenge.
So Laura said she likes the moments from this episode, but overall the story was a major interruption in the momentum of the past two episodes.
Yeah, I really thought Diana's episode was gonna be like a meaningful episode, and what I mean by meaningful is like important and like action-packed, and a lot of shit's happening, and it really wasn't. Like there were some important things, but it was. They don't need 13 episodes or whatever they got. I'm just gonna
I
tell
thought
you.
the most Diana thing that happened though was their conversation in Gaelic, where she's asleep or faking asleep.
That was cute.
Yeah, I mean that was pretty Diana straight from the book.
Except
That
for
was
one
verbatim, wasn't it?
Yeah, I
Possibly.
think so.
She's
think
like
it was.
copy paste.
She took it from her manuscript.
But
Yeah.
she had to take out the grins and the underscores, because that's what her manuscript looked like.
I'm actually okay. Maybe and maybe I'm alone probably in this. I was not really fond that they translated it. I thought it would have been cooler if they left it untranslated, because they've done that in the past. Like, this was our first time we've had it translated, right? They've never translated Gaelic before. This was the first time. And Heidi, because of you, when I was watching it, because you said, I hate the font, it looked like pirate font, like from like a Word document.
They could have used Comic Sans or something. It was that bad.
Or Webdings. And I was like, I kind of wish they didn't put it, because I kind of liked that. I liked that in, like, when Jamie was standing up for Leary, they didn't have it. It was just kind of being interpreted for Claire. And then the conversation between Murtaugh and Jamie, like, Jamie's like, I want to kill myself. We kind of figured it out, but the passion on their faces and their expression on their faces said it. So I was kind of like, I don't know. I mean, it was nice, but I was just like, oh, they translated it. Okay, cool.
I just wish he could have just done it in English.
Yeah.
Like, I liked knowing what he was saying, and because I think, this is such a Diana thing to do, but we have not ever, I don't think at all, in any of the seasons, been aware of how Catholic Jamie is. Not really. And this is like the first time he's just praying. Like, he's praying for her, and it's legitimate, he's sincere, and I loved that. I was into that.
That was sweet. Yeah, he crossed himself the other day, I think, when one of the guys died, and I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Very
but you don't really get, like, a good sense that he's religious.
Yeah.
Other than, like, the general religiosity of the day or whatever. So I kind of really liked that he's praying over his wife while she sleeps. Like, that's just a sweet, like, cool thing to do, and so I like that. So my thing is if they're going to translate it and she's asleep, so it doesn't matter if he hears him, why didn't he just speak it in English instead of doing the translation? But it didn't bother me.
Melissa on Twitter said if they had it translated, they probably would have done an annoying Claire voiceover. So,
oh God,
that's true.
God,
good point.
Jamie said that.
Oh, we would have been outsplained it would have been outsplained no matter what. And then somebody would have put fan art to it and put it as a poem next to a photo of Sam that somebody drew, like on the wanted poster, the most wanted poster, because I'm thoroughly convinced was fan art.
Who was the other poster?
I think it was supposed to be Murtaugh, right?
I thought it was supposed to be the prince.
It was somebody with a bonnet.
Look
it up.
Somebody had a bonnet on.
Somebody
Someone
posted
tell
it.
us.
I think it's so funny that's the second wanted poster we've seen of Jamie, and the first one was so accurate, but all Frank saw was a ghost. And the old one should have been more accurate because it's all people who have seen Jamie in real life over and over again. And it's
okay. So there it is. It's the Bonnie Prince Charlie, which
it is?
Yeah, it even says.
Hold on.
It says, sorry. If you actually zoom in, it even says Bonnie Prince Charlie. Sorry, my lights kind of being
that does not look like him.
Nope, and I'm
much sweeter.
I wonder if that's an actual thing that they had back then.
A wanted poster?
Like, yeah, it'd be cool if that was like a real drawing of him from a wanted poster from history.
That would have been cool.
Yeah, that would have been neat.
I doubt it, but it'd still be cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just think that one should be a little more accurate. Frank barely seeing a ghost should not have looked exactly like Jamie. Versus like all the people that have seen him in Scotland for years. It's just bananas.
Frank has a really great memory.
He does.
He was a spy.
Yep. And the Scottish police, they're a crack team up there.
We love you, Scotland. We love you so much.
Love you. What was their slogan? Yes, or whatever. Yes, we can.
Or it depends on who you were talking to. Yes or not yet.
Not yet. Aww.
Not yet one. Okay, so I don't know about you guys, but Tiff also snapped this, and because this scene kind of annoyed me. It was the scene after she enters the bar or wherever they're staying, the inn. Bar, whatever. That's what's on my mind right now. And so Claire takes a seat, and I felt like, I don't know, I feel like lately Jamie has had really good episodes. Like, they finally figured out how to write Jamie, and I feel like in the process they've lost how to write Claire. And in the next episode, like the next scene, it was, she sits down, and then this like one British soldier hikes. It's once again, it's like, oh, we're missing the sexual harassment. Oh, there it is, sexual harassment again. And then she did something, and I caught it. So he essentially tells her, like, hey, I'll come warm you up over here, dear. I don't know. I'm terrible at doing a British accent. So
That was great. That was perfect.
it sounded a little bit like Katharine Hepburn, like, oh, Spanish. I make everybody sound like Katharine Hepburn. Get ready. I'll make Jamie sound like him, like Katharine Hepburn, too, later on. No, what annoyed me about that scene was, Claire has been through so much. She's been almost raped multiple times. She has had a knife to her nipple. She's been almost, she was tried as a witch. She had to have sex with a king. And this is the moment where the guy says that, and she actually, like, physically cringes, like, oh. I'm like, dude, child's play. Go screw yourself, you little British bastard. Like, and she just cringed, and I was like, really? Because that's when I would have looked at him and like, oh, I'll teach you what this means, because I've been teaching everybody else the F word lately, so. I don't know. What was your guys' thought? I don't know. Maybe it's kind of annoyed me a little bit, because I felt it was so far I don't know. Just
outside of the way she would normally react?
Yes. I don't know.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that.
Okay.
I guess it is. But she also just falls asleep in the chair, like totally unconcerned about whether or not he's going to violate her. She's like, screw this, I'm going to fall asleep and have some more to drink.
Yeah.
So
She's like, I've been outside for the last couple months. I'm
gonna chill out by the
She
fire.
doesn't hear the entire pub empty out around her. She just sleeps through all of it.
That's what I would do. Doesn't that look horrible? Their entire lives on the horse in the heather.
Ooh. And then when whoever it was, and they stepped down into that mud, I was like, oh, this is awful. Oh wait, that was Game of Thrones. Just kidding. But it really was, and I just thought about that. But I imagine Outlander, they're stepping in mud too, and that's gross.
Isn't it really awful when he bites into that frog and then the rat? Oh, that was Penny Dreadful.
I watched them all in a row. I think I watched 5 shows in a row last night.
Oh god. Oh.
They
yeah.
don't have Silicon Valley though in Scotland, so I don't think I'm gonna get the crossover there.
Yeah.
I loved Jamie in this episode. I was totally into. Jamie, since they got back to Scotland, has been on point.
Yeah.
Possessive Jamie in the church when he did not want to let her go.
That was the best part of them together so far this whole season.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you.
Yes, absolutely. Fine to interrupt me, I don't care. But honestly, I remember when we very first started writing about this show, and Sam was first cast, and I remember putting in a post that I was like, I needed to see Jamie on my television screen right now. I was kind of crying about it. It was, because it was such a big deal. Again, I tend to forget throughout all the hubbub of Outlander that this is one of my favorite male characters ever. Ever. And top 3 maybe. And sometimes you just really want to see him on screen, and possessive Jamie in that church is Jamie Fraser to a T, and I was really happy to see him.
Yeah.
Yeah, when he had her in his arms and he was not going to let go, and then he finally does, and he is eyes locked on her. I was like, oh my god, they're together. It's back to normal.
Yeah.
That was a good part.
And you can kind of tell that he's reluctant to let Dougal grab her.
Yeah.
Even then he knows that he has to let her go. So here's the thing. When we get the cottage scene at Culloden,
if we get the cottage scene at Culloden.
I need it to be Jamie Fraser in that scene. I'm just putting it out there. When it doesn't happen, if it doesn't happen,
if we get Jamie in that scene, it will make up for anything for the rest of the season in my mind.
Yeah, it will erase everything from the first half of the season, and that stupid fight at the very beginning.
Even when he pushed the guy off the bridge into the water with the, it would erase that from my mind.
Oh, that was so campy. That was so horribly campy.
No, he was, I'm telling you right now, stubborn Jamie. I love him. I love him with my heart. That needs to happen more. And like I said, I feel like they really got Jamie. They've started to really figure out Jamie. But I feel like in the process, it's kind of like losing Claire a little bit. And I kind of, but like that scene in the cottage, that was perfect. And when she said, you know, am I not Lady Brock, whatever, something, that thing, your wife,
Turek.
that's it,
Truck.
Brock Turok. Then that, I thought that was awesome because it just made everybody like shut up, like, yeah, you are, yeah. And that scene between Murtaugh and Jamie, like, do you regret marrying her? And he goes, nope, not at all. Like, I thought that was great. That was fantastic.
Yeah.
So
We just need to see Jamie Fraser. The rest of it can go to hell. It really can. Like, all of the rest of it, you focus on the fact that Jamie has to be awesome. And the rest, we don't care about the costumes.
no.
I don't care about how accurate the battle axes are.
Speak for yourself, Beth.
Well, actually,
You could pick up the battle axes from Mordor, and I wouldn't know the difference.
Exactly. No one's going to know. It doesn't matter. Tell a really good story.
and that's it. That's it.
And show me Jamie Fraser being like growly and alpha male, and I will be all over it. I will love your show forever.
That's it. Some people are saying there's some. If we don't get the Danielle is saying if we don't get the cottage scene done right, I'm not sure how we'll feel about upcoming seasons. Anna is saying Anna's flat out saying that she feels that they're going to mess up the cottage scene like they did the scene at the Stones in season 1.
Oh, that was the biggest fail of season 1. That Stones, I was like waiting for it, and then bullshit.
And it was awful. And the thing is like everybody talks about not getting the womb scene in the grotto or whatever at the end of season 1 at Abbey. I'm like, no, are you kidding me? They could completely, that doesn't even matter. The Stones, the tear tracks on his face, the reunion, his surprise at seeing her again. The fact that they glossed over that with some bullcrap is honestly like the worst fail of the entire series.
Yeah.
So on Twitter, someone, I'm going to butcher, I think it's Semina, said, it feels like they wanted to use crappy Paris Jamie to make a bigger impact with Scotland Jam. Do you think that was purposeful? Where they wrote Jamie the way they wrote him in Paris and then changed it up to get to Scotland, so we were like, oh, Jamie's back? Or do you think that was coincidental?
I think some people will say that. I think some people will say that Jamie's just getting over the rape. Now he has to go help his wife change the future, so he doesn't know who he is just yet. He's lost his way. And then he goes back to Scotland, his motherland, and I'm sure some people will say that.
This show is so over the top and like showing or telling instead of explaining. I don't think that is something they're trying to do overtly. Like, he's like so underacting it if that's the case. Like, no, they would have like hit us over the head with that kind of information.
Yeah.
And he had a few moments in Paris. You know, he had moments in Paris where he was great.
Jamie.
So which one?
Like when he pulled Blackjack and it challenged him to the duel. Like that was Jamie.
Yeah.
When he ran into the room with Fergus, and that, I mean, Jamie was back for that.
Yeah, and I think when he first finds Fergus, that's very Jamie-esque.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of all the courtly stuff was silly, and so I mean, I don't know if they're really making a distinction. I think they were just writing to what they think the plot needed and not recognizing. And this is like just kind of my biggest. They don't recognize the whole series arc or the whole season arc when they're writing. They're just like writing to these plot points and kind of fitting in a couple of things from the from dialogue pieces from the. But they're not like considering the whole arc of things. And so when people make those connections, you're grasping at straws to make those connections with this show. Right. They're not doing that on purpose. I don't think.
We have a tweet, and I'm just going to say she's asking a question, but her name is Diana, and she goes, what did they get wrong in season 1 in the Stones? And I thought it was Diana Gabaldon, and I was like,
she's like, Hex, I'm waiting.
I'm like, and like literally my stomach just dropped into my ass.
How did that feel? Maybe Diana can explain how that felt.
I'm like, oh God, another one of the falls.
Did we answer your question, Diana? Because I think we talked about it. Like,
yeah, I hope we talked about it.
When he lets Claire go and he's like, go be with Frank, and she makes the choice to stay with Jamie, that moment in the books is one of the best Jamie moments ever. and instead it was really, really diluted in the show.
Yeah.
People on Twitter, a couple people have said that Sam has actually said that he was playing Paris Jamie a little differently.
Well then, you know what, Sam? Don't do that.
I don't understand. Playing him differently how?
It's not like Barbie, Sam. You can't play like today is flight attendant Barbie. This one is teacher Barbie.
Today is
French model Barbie.
French
This
Jamie.
one's French manipulator Barbie. Just play Jamie, Sam. Shut up.
This one's totally fine with his life choices, Barbie.
This one's okay going to a con, Barbie. So, and just the picture.
This one's getting paid a ton to go to a con.
Exactly. No, I don't know. Can we talk about the end? And like all of a sudden it was like the, Sandring him, and the discovery, and then I felt that was kind of rushed. In my opinion, that was kind of rushed for me because it all just started like jumps in Jamie and then Murtaugh, and I'm like, I thought the place was surrounded by soldiers. How is Murtaugh? Like, what did you do? Knock on the door and goes, okay, here we go. I'm gonna try to do a Scottish accent. Nope, can't do it. It's gonna come out like Katharine Hepburn. I'll do it anyways, like Katharine Hepburn. Oh, excuse me.
Your Katharine Hepburn sounds like you're Mary Hawkins.
Okay, I'll do it like Mary Hawkins.
Mary, she was in the scene.
She was.
It was the worst. You could just see Claire. Like, I was Claire, like, oh my god, you can't even go outside. Like, you just can't even do anything. You're the worst.
I don't want to be married, but I don't know what to do. Wait for me. Shut up.
I like how Claire was just like, fine, stay here.
Just stay, I'll do it myself. Damn
There's
it.
all of us.
We have to give it up to that dude who played Sandringham because the entire episode, he, in my opinion, the best acting, best storytelling, nailed every moment, was literally evil when he revealed that, like, oh, I just had to get you raped and blah, blah, blah. Like, he was evil, and it was really great acting. Whatever your name is, Guy, you were awesome.
Simon Callow, I think is his name.
Cal? From
Callow?
American Idol?
The crossover I've been waiting for.
I know him as he plays he's in Shakespeare in Love.
Yeah, he's isn't he one
Master
of
of the Revels.
Yeah, that's
He's
it.
Master of the Revels.
And he's also in,
lovely.
he was also in Four Weddings and a Funeral. He was the partner who, I think he passed away. Sorry if you haven't seen it. He passed away in that movie.
No.
He's the funeral.
I'm so sad to see him go. He was that good.
And that was it. I wish there was more time with him and more of like I just felt like it was all of a sudden like rushed. Like Murtaugh jumps in or Jamie barges in and nobody stopped him. Apparently there was only one guard out that Jamie took out. Murtaugh knocked.
He sent them away.
Yeah, Murtaugh like knocked on the door. Apparently I don't know what happened there. It's like rushing through a hallway, and all of a sudden it's like boom, his head's gone. Here it is. Mary's like, okay, it's time to go. Like.
I liked it. I think that things like that tend to go quickly.
Yeah.
If you're doing murders, then they're gonna go quick, and then you're gonna get the hell out of there. That's a fast thing.
You're trapped ahead.
Monroe was in the front yard teaching everyone sign language, so all the guards were busy.
Yeah. Holding the head up was just like a little bit much. I was like, oh, okay, this is too much.
That's the cliche shot. They had to get this cliche shot of him holding a head. Nobody, if you cut off a head, holds it up. They don't do that.
Yeah, no one's touching it. But here, the whole thing was so ham-fisted at the beginning when they doing that beautiful wig shot where the person is powdering it and all that stuff. And then it knocks over, and literally Joe next to me goes, oh, he's going to die. I was like, yes, he is. That's so, they totally just gave the entire episode away.
Yeah. I don't understand why they do that. Where is the suspense in this show? There's no suspense.
None. They're like, you've read it.
Yeah. They're like, he, book readers, you're going to love this. But they forget that there's people watching the show that have no clue what's happening.
Yeah.
And so that stuff is not cool. It's obnoxious, and it takes all of the suspense away.
Yeah. Diana, once again, just tweeted and said, I know, this is to me and to That's Normal, I know how much you love Mary. You know Stars submitted her for Emmy consideration, which means I am now considered for the Emmy. Yes.
I hope you get it, Julie.
Please
I'd
do
like
your Emmy award acceptance speech right now.
Okay. I'd like to thank. Oh, Claire, can you come here? I need to get out of this Emmy speech. Oh, Claire.
I mean, what is she being considered for?
I don't know. And God.
Special
I'd like to thank
guest.
God.
Whatever the term is.
Guest?
It must be guest on a series or whatever that one is. But honestly, they're literally just like, oh, you were on the show, gonna nominate you, like for sure. Like,
I'm pretty sure that guest actor in a series, it's not delineated by actor or actress, so you get like one of those.
Yeah.
And Tobias is a guest actor. I don't think that chick playing Mary Hawkins is going to be going up against that.
There was also a push for the guy who plays Rupert to be nominated for an Emmy. I'm like, for what? Doing 2 jokes about his missing eye and then a grunt and then laying down?
And why not a Grammy for that song he sang last episode?
He could just go for the EGOT, and just from this one character. He doesn't have to go anywhere else. He can get all right now.
I don't even remember the song.
Guys, you gotta quit. You gotta quit pushing for this stuff. It's not important. I wonder if Rick Rankin's going to be nominated for his probably 10 minutes that he's going to get at the end of the last episode.
He's not even going to get 10 minutes. It's literally going to be like a flash of a second, and that's it.
I'm going to push for the soldier who was the horny soldier from this past episode to get it. For your consideration.
Horny soldier number 8.
Horny soldier bastard number 8. Oh, you want me to warm you up?
Here's your award, sir.
That's Send Me Real. That's only one scene.
So, what do you guys think is going to happen next week? We're going to get we're going to get the Battle of Culloden next week, right? But then Blackjack is back. Without major book spoilers.
Did anyone else not have the preview on the end of their episode if they recorded it off TV? Because there was no preview. It showed the preview for this week's. The one that had already aired. It was really weird.
No, it showed it for. It showed it. I think Blackjack. We do know Blackjack is back next week, right? Because that's what they showed.
Yeah. It has to be. Finally.
And more talk of war.
Wait, how many episodes are left? 2?
Just 2.
But the last one is supposed to be 90 minutes, I think.
Oh, jeez.
So
clearly, next week's Culloden, whatever, and then what's the last episode? It's going to be fast forward, Brianna, Roger, etc.
I really think we are not going to get Culloden this coming week. I think it's going to be in the last episode.
They cannot save that for freaking 2 weeks from now.
Because
you don't end on a battle.
It's true.
I'm trying to remember. Was this the book? I've read them 3 times. I do not remember. Was this the one where, so that now that they are going home because it's winter or whatever, don't they travel for a super long time and then everyone gets hungry? And is that what happens on this after the prince leaves or tells them to go home or something? Am I wrong?
Maybe.
I don't remember that.
I was confused about them having Mary Hawkins. I know that in Dragonfly they come upon Mary Hawkins with Blackjack.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't know that they had her under their protection. I'm not sure that that's in the book.
Yeah.
So my guess is that this is still going to be lead up to Culloden and we're not going to get the battle in this next episode. Wah, wah.
Yeah. Corinne agrees with you. She thinks Culloden's going to be the last episode. She thinks next week's going to be the Randalls in regards to the brothers and Mary Hawkins. Which
they make a whole episode out of that.
They will.
Oh.
They took up 10 minutes of some guy finding whatever his name, Monroe, in the forest. Like, they're going to find an hour's worth of information to talk about.
Andy just said that she thinks they didn't even film Culloden.
Well, they're just gonna mention it in voiceover? How do you not film that?
That would be. That
I
would
mean, I
That's
guess
fuck. Excuse
we've
me.
been waiting. We've been waiting for it, and it's just Claire's voiceover.
no, but technically it did happen in Voyager, didn't it? With Jamie
Yeah.
telling Claire about it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god. If
He's
he's
telling me not
literally
to.
like by a fireplace telling her and be really mad.
Oh my gosh.
Just look at Claire's
Who said that? How do they know?
Andy,
Andy.
I believe her.
Andy. Damn it, Andy.
Yeah, we really can't talk about it much more without spoilers.
No.
But
Yeah.
you know what? When you go to Culloden, they have this really cool room that you go into, and it's got 4 screens on each wall, and they have a video of the battle, and it lasts as long as the battle actually lasted, I think,
That's cool.
which is not long, like 13 minutes or something.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
You're kind of like,
less than an hour.
yeah, I mean, you're like in the midst of it as it's happening, and you kind of are seeing everything. It would crack me up if they were just like, "What is she at?" Just ask
Can you
them.
just give us that B-roll you have?
Yeah,
with
can
the
you just hand
museum?
that to us? Let us edit it into what we're doing.
Just put Sam in there. Sam's face.
They did
Yeah.
freaking battle scenes for Preston Pans, and yet they can't come up with some Culloden footage. Like, come on. I'm already pre-angry about it.
Nikki wants to see somebody's eyeballs, both of them, come out.
Come out. I
one.
want to see someone chomp on their face. I don't know, just anything.
This is
So-
zombie.
Claudia
We gotta
said,
see Google. I've reached the end. We've got to see Dougal die. Clearly, he dies in Culloden, right? No spoilers, but come on.
So Claudia says it would pale to the Game of Thrones battle anyway, right? So maybe they should skip it, which is sound advice. Not that they're
It is.
taking our advice, but it's a good point.
They're definitely not, but they wouldn't have known that a year ago or whenever they filmed this. So,
I don't know. Diana
Who
listens
wrote
to us, I think. Hence the blurts.
who wrote this episode? Do we know anything about them?
Next episode, it's Stupid Ira.
Oh, well, in that case, there's no, like, it's all voiceover.
There's no hope.
and Nothing.
Somebody, K4, she's at 87K4 real. She said, little Brianna will read about the battle in a history book. That is so exactly what's going to happen. We're going to be like, what?
It will be,
Flipping pages like cartoon Bonnie Prince Charlie on the Culloden War.
and then Claire will like look off to the side and go, "I remember Culloden." And then they talk about it.
Oh, man.
Claire
That
and her voice. Claire and her voiceover look that she gets. She gets this like stare, and she doesn't blink. And you're like, God, here we go, another voiceover. And then sure enough. So it will be a voiceover. Claire will voice over the entire war for all of us.
Well, I mean, I don't really know what they would do with Culloden any differently than what they did with Preston Pans. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just bigger and sadder because they lose.
Imagine that had they done Preston Pans right, they would have used the music from the episode before. That was some Gaelic music with a with like a singing lyrics for this one, like sad Gaelic music over some terrible stuff happening on a battlefield. Come on, make us cry. Come on.
Yeah. I do kind of want to cry really bad.
I know. Danielle said that the final episode will have 2 writers. We'll have Tony Graffia and Matt Roberts will be writing the last episode. So that will be good. What did
Okay.
Tony Graffia? I know what Matt wrote, but what did Tony Graffia write? It wasn't The Wedding.
Some people think that Tonys are good. I don't really remember
I don't
which ones
remember.
they are.
Well,
Tonys are good.
That sound bitchy?
If they've led 2 seasons to this point, like, come on, there's got to be something, some payoff.
I don't know what else there's not. I mean, I don't know what else there is to do. It's 90 minutes of Claire back in the future.
No.
Only they.
Some people think it will be Claire and part of book 3, so that they'll include
Oh, jeez.
some big part in book 3 into the end of the episode. I'm not going to say what that part is.
I think it's going to be giant amounts of telling, not showing. That's what's going to happen at the end of this season.
I don't like the telling. They've not done well with the telling. Stop.
Aw,
Yeah.
bummed. We need to talk about something else really quick before I get upset.
Rupert was funny. Lost an eye, made an eye joke. Give her a wink for me. That was
How
funny.
was he not in serious pain? I was like, really?
No.
He's like, give her a wink for me. I'm in fucking awful pain right now.
That eye, though, that was like, you want to, things like it, that Prestapans one, I was like, okay, that was kind of, that was graphic for me. This one was, this episode, in various spots, was so, like, I was just like, oh, I can't look. Oh, I can't, the eye thing? Mm-mm. I
You
was
can't
like,
handle watching Outlander, that's for sure.
ugh.
I liked Dougal, like, jumping onto his horse. That was cool.
That was cool.
Oh, yeah, that was good.
Dougal had a lot of redeeming moments in this episode. I was like, oh, don't die. Don't die. You're kind
I
of a
want
bad
Dougal
guy.
to be, like, awesome. I want him to be, like, stand-up dude.
Yeah. I think I really like Graham McTavish, so then I'm
That's
like,
it, yeah.
no, I don't want you to be a bad guy.
Yeah.
So when he's not, I'm really happy that he's not.
Yeah.
Like, when he stands up and is, like, awesome, I'm kind of like, yeah.
Never mind. Spoiler alert. Never mind.
Do it with human roast sign language.
In a house at Culloden, that's the stone. Culloden. Culloden.
Ah.
Did anybody else always say in their head when they were reading it, Culloden, not
I said
Culloden?
Culloden. I didn't know it was Culloden until someone said it out loud.
Yeah, I was corrected. I think I was corrected by Diana on one of her like YouTube things. I was like, oh, okay, sorry.
So we've got a lot of people tweeting that they think because Culloden is not explained until Voyager, because Claire isn't there and doesn't know, that we're not going to get Culloden in this season. I mean, do you guys really think that the entire build-up for this season, regardless of how the books are structured, requires them not to show a battle that the whole season has been about? The entire season, they probably mentioned Culloden in every single episode.
That's what the entire season is about. They're in France to stop it or to help him, and then they have to, and then all the battles leading up to it. If you don't show it, that's like ridiculous. And I don't care that the story is from her perspective. I also think that the downfall of the show doesn't matter that she's not there. It happens, and it happens to the characters that we're following. You need to show something. Whatever.
I mean, I just don't understand how they could possibly start a whole new season of this show showing a battle that was the entire culmination of the previous season. That's a very strange storytelling choice. It works in the books. It is not it just doesn't seem to be the way that the show should go. And I think that people think that that's okay because that's how the books are. I'm going to be on the side of at the very least, she finds out that they don't win the Battle of Culloden. At the very least, we need to be able to see the first clash of swords and bayonets in that battle, and then maybe end it or something. But it has to be. We have to see something.
Right.
I just think that if anything we've learned this season is what they should do and what they will do very rarely meet.
Yeah, that's true.
You're smart.
Here's what my hope is, because technically Claire wasn't there at the Battle of, what is it, Prestapans?
Preston Pans.
That's it. And we got to see it. So that's my like, okay, maybe we'll see that as well. I don't know. I'm hoping something.
We see the messenger running through the woods. In fact, some of my favorite parts in this one were kind of them trotting through the woods. Although it seemed like those redcoats were really close to them and could have just shot them off their horses.
Yeah.
That chase seemed a little cheeseball.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty much.
But let's discuss it. We're about to end, so let's talk about like overall how we felt about the fact that Diana wrote this episode. Did you guys think that Diana's influence was evident in the way this one was written or how it worked?
No,
I'm sorry.
Heidi.
I think in the scene with the Gaelic, yes, I saw Diana in that. And then other than that, all I've seen that was particularly Diana is how she's acted on social media since, talking about everything that she has done. Other than that, just normal Outlander for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What were you going to say, Nikki?
I was just going to say no because I kept forgetting that she had even wrote this episode. It just didn't sing so much. Like, there were a few moments where it was, like, really great. I just didn't think that she would have written an episode that wasn't pivotal to the storyline. Usually when they give the writer an episode, it's an important episode and something, big is going to happen. That said, I really love Sandringham, so.
Yeah. I agree. I thought that, like, the Gaelic part, Sandringham and how he acted, that was Diana. Everything else, I was like, And, like, I agree with Nikki in the sense that I thought they would give her something more meatier to write with, a bigger episode. And for me, this was just one of those episodes that I probably will, thinking about, if I think about the show in the future, will be like, oh, yeah, that happened? Okay. Like, I'll only remember it because of Sandringham losing his head. That's what I'm going to remember.
You're going to remember the wig. She's so good at dialogue, and I think that's why the Sandringham part was so good, was the dialogue was so good back and forth between them. But we wanted dialogue from Jamie and Claire. You should have written that kind of dialogue.
Yeah. And I mean, and she did. We got a really great scene from them. One of the better scenes. I mean, the scene that we got with Jamie and Claire in bed is probably one of the better scenes, Jamie and Claire scenes of the season for sure. So there is that aspect of it. I'm glad that we didn't have a sex scene from Diana, written from Diana's perspective, which we were very worried about last week. But I mean, I think for the most part, the way that I saw Diana's influence is I thought it was actually pretty action-packed. I mean, it changed. The episode changed a lot. There wasn't a whole lot of the same thing going on. Now, some of the stuff went on a little bit too long, but at the very least, it went from, war tribe meeting to running for their lives to, just different things. And I felt like that was a very Diana way to kind of write a note. And so, but I agree. It doesn't seem like they gave her a super important or a super pivotal episode to write, which is not necessarily an odd choice. I mean, she's not a proven television writer, right? I mean, I don't know.
This is her first foray into doing it. So, yeah.
Not that she has to be a proven TV writer, but she's the source material. She's going to write those characters the best, or she should.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The DVD they'll probably release is going to be like, this episode was probably like 3 hours long.
There was an herb scene we missed.
A lot more tooth pulling was going on. So, okay, I'll ask this question, and everybody on Twitter, you can answer this one too. What episode in the season do you think Diana would have been better had Diana written it, or do you think that they should have given her as the source material lady?
The Hickey scene in episode 4.
Yeah.
Diana should have written the Hickey scene.
All of episode 2. Was that the Hickey scene? No. All of episode 2. That's the episode I don't think I liked that episode at all.
But why do you think Diana should have written it?
Just because I want it to be better.
I don't remember what happens in that one. What happens in that
I don't even remember.
The whole first, France section.
Yeah, but...
Oh, that was the red dress. That was the red dress episode.
Yes,
right?
It was. Yeah.
And I think well, I think part of it was they revealed the red dress too early, and it was just like, okay, we saw it already. So a lot of it had to be doing with the advertising of this or the marketing of this. But I think it could have been like a little more. I think how she described it, what happened to Claire, and when it came to fruition and it came onto the screen, it was silly and was okay. We could have done without that. So maybe she could have at least given it that oomph that it needed.
I think I would have liked her to write that episode where they're first back in Scotland, because it's kind of like coming home. I think there would have been some more poignant moments at home instead of like glossing over someone was pregnant and this happened and then that happened and we're going to leave. Like, I think she would have really dialed in on some of those Lollybrook moments that would have made us feel better that we're back in Scotland, and thank God we're out of Paris.
Yeah. That was my number 2, Nikki, that one. And that other one that ties for the one I think Diana should have done is the one with the duel. Whatever the episode is right before Faith. Just because I think they failed so super hard on the duel, and the way it was written and how they went directly into Claire's point of view, and we missed so much of, you know, why Jamie was doing what he was doing, and only got that later on in Faith. And so I would hope that she would have been able to say, you know what, this isn't sparking enough. That one just happens to be my least favorite storytelling moment in this series. So it would have been cool if she maybe could have brought it up a little bit better. So
have a crasher.
Baby time.
Baby.
It's bedtime. I gotta go put her to sleep and watch The Bachelor.
All right.
Bye. Bye, Leighton.
Aww.
Aww. That's just adorable.
Face.
All right, well, we're anyway. So we'll see you guys next week, Monday, same time, right? Same channel.
Mm-hmm.
To talk about the penultimate episode of Outlander Season 2. We will see you there. And I think the My Outlander Purgatory girls are going to be with us next week, so it'll be a good time. It'll be a really good time. They're our faves.
Bye.
Good night.
See you guys.
Good night.